Hi, this is Michael, your storyteller. Welcome to our channel Frightening Tales. Dark, eerie music plays in the background. Serious tone adolescence, a time of transformation, rebellion, and self-discovery. But for some, it's a time when dark impulses take over. Tonight, we dive into a chilling crime story that left a quiet town shattered and a nation asking how could children be capable of such horror. Scene fades into a dark suburban neighborhood. A slow zoom into a house with flickering streetlights. The incident. Police radio chatter in the background, sirens wailing. Narrator, it was supposed to be a normal Saturday night in the town of Crestwood. But by dawn, the town would never be the same. At exactly 2:17 a.m., a frantic 911 call sent officers rushing to the scene of an unspeakable crime. Cut to a reenactment of a distressed caller whispering, "There's blood everywhere. I don't know if they're breathing, please hurry." Narrator, inside the house of 16-year-old Jamie Lawson, investigators found a scene so gruesome it shocked even the most seasoned officers. Jamie's parents, Rebecca and David Lawson, were found lifeless in their bedroom, multiple stab wounds, a struggle that left behind broken furniture, shattered glass, and trails of blood leading to the hallway. But the most disturbing discovery was yet to come. The suspects. Soft heartbeat sound, as if mimicking tension rising. The initial assumption? A break-in gone wrong. But as detectives pieced together the puzzle, the evidence led them down a disturbing path, one they never expected. The culprits weren't masked intruders. They were teenagers. Friends of Jamie himself. Cut to black and white mugshots of four teenagers: Jamie Lawson, Travis Henshaw, Lila Porter, and Aaron Blake. The truth was darker than anyone imagined. The four had spent weeks planning what they called the Night of Freedom, a night where they would, in their own words, break the chains of authority and show the world that rules don't apply to them. But what? What drove these seemingly normal teenagers to commit such a heinous act? The backstory? Montage of school hallways, yearbook photos, social media posts. Jamie, Travis, Lila, and Aaron weren't outsiders. They weren't the stereotypical bad kids. They were smart, well-liked, even popular. But beneath the surface, a darkness brewed. Cut to a forensic psychologist sitting in an interview setting. Psychologist, adolescence is a critical stage where emotions are heightened, impulsivity increases, and peer influence is at its peak. Combine that with feelings of resentment, rebellion, and a sense of invincibility, you get a dangerous cocktail. Flashback scenes, the teenagers whispering in a dimly lit basement, planning, laughing as they write a kill list in a notebook. The group was fascinated by crime stories, horror movies, and the idea of control. But the catalyst? An event 6 months prior. Jamie's parents caught him sneaking out and grounded him. What should have been a simple punishment spiraled into an obsession. In his mind, they were the enemy. And with his friends by his side, he sought revenge. The night of the crime. Heavy rain, dark sky, low-angle shots of the group walking toward Jamie's house. Armed with knives stolen from their own kitchens, dressed in dark clothes, they entered the Lawson home at 1:48 a.m. Surveillance footage later retrieved from a neighbor's security camera captured the group slipping into the house. What followed next was chaos. Cut to distorted, reenacted flashes of the attack. Screams. Blood splattering on the walls. A clock ticking louder and louder. David Lawson fought back, injuring Travis with a lamp. Rebecca pleaded for their lives. But there was no mercy. In just under 6 minutes, it was over. The teenagers stood over the bodies, breathing heavily, adrenaline rushing. But their night was far from over. The aftermath. Cut to Jamie's shaky hands texting on his phone, "It's done. What now?" Instead of fleeing, they stayed. Ate snacks from the fridge. Laughed. Some say they even played video games. The idea of getting caught wasn't real to them until the police arrived. Flashing lights, officers storming in, teenagers frozen in shock. Their arrest sent shockwaves through the nation. The question remained why? How could 4 teenagers from normal homes carry out such an atrocity? The trial revealed chilling details: lack of remorse, disturbing journal entries, and even social media posts hinting at their plans. The prosecution painted them as cold-blooded killers. The defense? As misguided kids lost in their own delusions. The trial and sentencing. Courtroom sketches, sound bites from news reporters. The trial lasted months. The media dubbed them the Crestwood Killers. The verdict? Guilty. Sentences ranged from 25 years to life. But the debate lingers: could something have been done to prevent this? The psychological breakdown. Interviews with criminologists, psychologists analyzing teenage behavior, peer pressure, and moral development. While most teenagers revel in harmless ways, a small fraction take it to extreme levels. Experts say the combination of social alienation, violent media consumption, and unresolved personal grievances can lead to devastating consequences. Conclusion: learning from the past. Soft melancholic music plays, slow shots of a memorial outside the Lawson house. 2 lives lost. 4 lives ruined. And a town left in pieces. Could this have been stopped? Were the signs ignored? The story of the Crestwood Killers serves as a grim reminder: sometimes, the biggest dangers lurk where we least expect them. Fade to black, somber music continues. Ominous music fades in, transitioning from part 1. The town of Crestwood thought they had all the answers. 4 teenagers behind bars. A brutal crime solved. But just when the case seemed closed, a chilling discovery reopened wounds that had barely begun to heal. Welcome to part 2 of the Crestwood Killers, a story far from over. A mysterious message. Cut to a prison cell. Jamie Lawson, now incarcerated, staring at the ceiling. A guard passes by, slipping a folded piece of paper through the bars. Jamie unfolds it, his eyes widening. 6 months after their sentencing, a letter appeared in Jamie Lawson's cell. No return address. No signature. Just 6 haunting words: you took the fall for nothing. Cut to a detective, flipping through a case file, puzzled. At first, authorities dismissed it as a cruel prank. But when forensic analysis revealed an unknown set of fingerprints on the note, everything changed. Had someone else been involved? Someone who had escaped justice? A secret 5th member? Slow zoom into an old school yearbook, a missing face from a group photo. A deeper look into the group's past uncovered a disturbing lead: a 5th friend who had seemingly vanished from all records after the crime. No online presence. No school records. As if they had never existed. But eyewitness accounts and old text messages suggested otherwise. Cut to a nervous teenager, interviewed by police. Teen: yeah, there was someone else, but we never talked about them. They were different. Always watching. Always planning. Flashback scene: the 4 convicted teenagers sitting in a dark basement. A shadowy figure stands just outside the light. Who was this missing piece of the puzzle? And more importantly, where were they now? Strange incidents. Cut to the Lawson house, now abandoned. The camera lingers on a flickering streetlight outside. As detectives reopened the case, eerie reports began surfacing. Unexplained break-ins at the abandoned Lawson house. Disturbing messages left on the town's bulletin boards: justice was never served. Residents claim to hear whispers at night, shadows lurking where none should be. Cut to security camera footage, grainy, distorted. A figure in a hoodie standing motionless in front of the crime scene tape. And then, the most terrifying event yet: a local reporter, investigating the case, disappeared. Her last message? A voicemail left on her editor's phone: I think I found something. It's not over. They were never alone. Cut to black. Heavy static sound. A darker truth. Montage of detectives analyzing old security footage, comparing timestamps, cross-referencing locations. Piecing together overlooked evidence, investigators made a chilling discovery. The night of the crime, a fifth figure had been caught on a traffic camera a few blocks from the Lawson house walking calmly, hands in pockets, face obscured. The timestamp? Moments before the killings. But when the footage was enhanced, the most disturbing revelation surfaced. Slow zoom into the figure's hand holding a notebook identical to the one Jamie and his friends had used to plan the crime. Was this the true mastermind? Had the convicted teenagers been pawns in someone else's twisted game? The hunt begins. Cut to a detective briefing a task force. A map of the town, red markers on key locations. Detective, we're dealing with someone meticulous, someone who has been watching this unfold from the shadows. They didn't just disappear. They're still here. Cut to a dimly lit alley. A shadow moves swiftly as a siren blares in the distance. A race against time had begun. If this unknown figure was truly behind it all, what was their next move? The final message. Cut to a town square. A large banner hangs overnight, no one knowing who put it up. Then, one morning, Crestwood awoke to a chilling sight: a message draped across the town square. 3 simple words that sent shivers down every spine. Slow pen to the banner. The words, "I'm not done." Ominous music crescendos. The case of the Crestwood killers was never just about 4 teenagers. It was about something far more sinister. And as the town held its breath, one thing became clear: whatever was lurking in the shadows was far from finished. A new lead. A detective's office. The room is dimly lit, cluttered with files, maps, and red string connections on a board. A coffee cup sits half drunk on the table. Detective Reynolds flips through an old case file, eyes scanning over crime scene photos. He pauses, staring at an enhanced image of the hooded figure. Close-up of the detective's face, his expression tightens. He picks up his phone and dials. "Reynolds, we need to talk. Now." A visitor at midnight. Cut to a quiet suburban street. A car pulls up in front of an old, run-down house. Detective Reynolds steps out, checking his surroundings before knocking on the door. Silence. Then, the door creaks open slightly. A single eye peers through the crack. Mysterious voice, whispering, "You shouldn't have come here. Reynolds, then maybe you should stop leaving clues. You want this solved as much as I do." The door swings open. Inside, a dimly lit room, covered in newspaper clippings, photographs, and hastily scribbled notes. A figure steps back into the shadows. Mysterious figure, they were never the ones in control. It was always them. The one watching. The one who planned every move. Reynolds, who? Give me a name. Mysterious figure, I don't have one. But they left a message for you. The figure hands him a folded piece of paper. Reynolds unfolds it, his eyes widening. Cut to black. Heavy breathing. Escalation. Montage of town square, a panic-stricken crowd gathers around a police barricade. Officers secure the area. Shot of Detective Reynolds pushing through the crowd, reaching the center. Another banner, larger than before, draped over the police station itself. The message, "Still watching." Flash of cameras. Journalists rush to capture the scene. Cut to a live news broadcast, the anchor looking visibly shaken. News anchor, authorities in Crestwood are now treating this case as an active threat. They urge residents to remain indoors after dark as the search intensifies. The missing reporter. A television flickers in a darkened living room. The screen displays a news report: "Local reporter still missing, search continues." Cut to a shaky, handheld camera moving through an abandoned warehouse. The view tilts, revealing discarded notebooks, crumpled photos, and a single lit candle. Suddenly, a faint whisper cuts through the silence. The camera swings wildly. A shadow moves in the darkness. Then static. The true mastermind. A late-night interrogation room. A single overhead light illuminates Jamie Lawson, now gaunt and pale. Across the table, Detective Reynolds lays down a series of photographs. Jamie stares at them, unmoving. "Reynolds, we found her camera. And the last thing she recorded? It was you. But you weren't alone." Jamie exhales shakily, looking up for the first time. His eyes are hollow. "Jamie, you still don't get it, do you?" "Reynolds, then tell me." Jamie, whispering, "I was never the one in charge. I was just following instructions." He revealed. Surveillance footage from a gas station timestamped the night of the original crime. A hooded figure steps out of a stolen vehicle, their face finally visible. A face that was never in the original reports. Someone who had stayed hidden. Cut to Detective Reynolds, his face drained of color as he whispers the name. Flashback montage, previous scenes from parts 1 and 2. A figure lurking in the background. A name left out of reports. A presence always watching. The screen glitches. Final shot, a pair of eyes, watching through a security camera feed. A slow, eerie smile forming. Black screen. A new threat. A dimly lit police station. Detective Reynolds sits at his desk, flipping through crime scene photos. His phone buzzes. He hesitates before answering. "Reynolds, Reynolds." Silence. Then, a distorted voice whispers. "Voice, you missed something." The call ends. The escape. Cut to a high-security prison. Alarms blaring. Guards running down a hallway. A cell door wide open, empty. The nameplate reads, Jamie Lawson. Flash to security footage, Jamie, staring directly into the camera before vanishing into the darkness. The return. A suburban home. A woman washing dishes. The television plays in the background. News anchor, authorities have launched a statewide manhunt for convicted murderer Jamie Lawson, who escaped. A shadow moves outside the kitchen window. The woman freezes. A sudden knock on the door. The trap. A secret underground hideout. Jamie stands face to face with the hooded figure from the surveillance footage. "Jamie, you got me locked up. Now what?" The hooded figure slowly removes their mask, revealing the missing reporter. "Reporter, smirking, you were never supposed to take the fall alone. But now, we finish what we started." The final message. A public square. Hundreds gather, staring at a massive projection on the side of a building. The screen flickers to life, grainy footage of the original crime scene, but this time, showing someone else in the house that night. Someone who was never caught. Cut to Detective Reynolds, watching in horror. Jamie's voice echoes through the speakers. "Jamie, the real killer is still out there. And they're watching. Right now." Final shot, the crowd gasps. The camera slowly zooms in on a figure standing completely still in the middle of the chaos. Smiling. Screen glitches. The mind games begin. A dimly lit interrogation room. Detective Reynolds sits across from an empty chair, nervously tapping his fingers on the table. A single bulb flickers above. A door creaks open. Jamie Lawson steps in, escorted by 2 officers. But something is different, he's smiling. "Jamie, detective, have you ever considered that you're on the wrong side of the table?" "Reynolds, you're the one who ran." Jamie, chuckling, "I didn't run. I just stepped outside the script. And now, I get to write the next chapter." Unraveling sanity. Cut to Detective Reynolds' apartment. He flips through old case files, photos scattered across the floor. He circles one specific image, a crime scene where the walls were covered in writings. The writings all match Jamie's handwriting. Reynolds suddenly hears something behind him. He turns quickly, nothing. Cut to his reflection in a mirror. But for a split second, his reflection doesn't move with him. The voice in the dark. A late-night diner. Reynolds, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, sits across from a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist, you need to sleep, Reynolds. Whatever this case is doing to you. Reynolds, whispering, what if I'm not chasing Jamie? What if Jamie is chasing me? Cut to a public restroom. Reynolds splashes cold water on his face. He looks up at the mirror. Jamie is standing behind him. Reynolds spins around. The room is empty. The switch. A psychological facility. Security cameras monitor a padded room. Someone sits in the corner, their face hidden. A doctor flips through a patient file, case #1087 dead. Reynolds. Doctor, to nurse. He keeps insisting he's a detective, but there's no record of him in any department. Nurse hesitates, then turns to the security monitor. Reynolds, now wearing a hospital gown, rocks back and forth, muttering Jamie's words. Reynolds, I just stepped outside the script. A smiling face. A city street. The missing reporter stands in the crowd, looking directly at the camera. Reporter, this is bigger than a crime. This is about the cracks in reality itself. And I know who's pulling the strings. A figure steps beside her. The camera glitches. The screen distorts. Final shot, the same smiling figure from before. But this time, they whisper. Figure, wake up. Fractured perception. A hospital corridor, dimly lit. Footsteps echo. A nurse pushes a medication cart past room 1087. Inside the room, Reynolds sits on his bed, staring blankly at the wall. The words "wake up" are scratched into the surface. Nurse enters, holding a syringe. Nurse, time for your meds, detective. Reynolds' eyes snap to her. He smiles. Reynolds, I'm not the detective anymore. Am I? Threads of control. A darkened newsroom. The missing reporter sits at her desk, reviewing old footage. Her fingers tremble as she rewinds a clip. On screen, a crime scene video from years ago. A younger Reynolds stands outside a house, but something is off. His eyes flick toward the camera, as if he knows he's being watched. The video distorts. A new voice, layered under static, whispers. Voice, step outside the script. A door that shouldn't exist. A rusted industrial building. Jamie Lawson walks alone, flashlight flickering. His breath is shaky. He reaches a metal door covered in deep scratches, as if something inside had tried to claw its way out. A voice behind him whispers. Voice, you were never meant to see this. Jamie turns, nothing there. He exhales, then pushes the door open. Cut to black. The missing files. Back at the facility. The psychiatrist reviews Reynolds' case notes. Half the pages are missing. Psychiatrist, muttering, none of this makes sense. He flips to a grainy black and white photo attached to the file. A group of men in suits, one of them looks exactly like Reynolds. The year printed on the bottom reads, 1978. The interloper. Cut to a high-tech surveillance room. Screens flicker, displaying real-time footage of the city. A gloved hand adjusts a dial. One screen zooms in on Reynolds. Another zooms in on Jamie. Another on the reporter. A distorted voice crackles over the intercom. Voice, they are all waking up. We need to intervene. The breakdown. A montage, Reynolds clawing at the walls of his hospital room. Jamie gasping in horror as he steps into the metal room. The reporter tearing through old files, uncovering redacted names. Static, The camera zooms in on Reynolds' hospital mirror. His reflection moves a second too late. And it's smiling. The fracture widens. A dimly lit psychiatric ward. A different doctor, older, weary, flips through Reynolds' case files. He pauses, noticing something. The file has changed overnight. The pages now contain new notes in Reynolds' own handwriting. The doctor turns the page. The words "wake up" are scrawled repeatedly, growing more erratic. Cut to Reynolds, strapped to his hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. His lips barely move. Reynolds, whispering, "Who's writing the script now?" Jamie's descent. A narrow hallway in the industrial building. Jamie walks cautiously, his flashlight flickering. The air is thick with dust. Suddenly, whispers rise around him, indistinct voices speaking over one another. He spins, flashlight shaking. He reaches a second door, older than the first. It has a small, grated window. Jamie hesitates, then peers inside. His own face stares back at him. Jamie, gasping, "No. No, no, no." The other Jamie inside the room grins. "Other Jamie, you should have stayed asleep." He broadcast. A busy street at night. A massive electronic billboard flickers to life on its own, static hissing. Pedestrians stop, confused. The screen suddenly cuts to grainy footage, security cam footage of Reynolds, Jamie, and the reporter, all in different locations. A distorted voice echoes through the speakers. Voice, "None of them are real. And neither are you." The convergence. The reporter, pale and trembling, rushes into the police station, slamming a folder onto the counter. "Reporter, you need to see this." The officer flips open the folder. Inside are photographs of Reynolds, Jamie, and the reporter, from different decades. Their faces unchanged. The officer looks up, his face unreadable. "Officer," calmly, "you shouldn't have found this." The lights flicker. The watcher revealed. Back at the hospital, Reynolds stares into his mirror. His reflection speaks first. "Reflection, you figured it out, didn't you?" Reynolds breathes heavily, gripping the arms of his chair. "Reynolds, who are you?" The reflection tilts its head. "Reflection, the better question is, who are you?" Reynolds' reflection starts distorting, twisting until it is no longer him. A shadowy figure emerges from the glass. The final shift. A montage, the reporter running from the police station as alarms blare. Jamie falling to his knees as his doppelganger steps forward. Reynolds screaming as his reflection pulls him into the mirror. Static. The screen flickers. A city skyline at dawn. But something is wrong. The buildings are slightly off, shifting, rearranging when no one is looking. A final whisper echoes, layered over static. Voice, "Wake up." Reality fractured. The city skyline remains distorted. Shadows stretch unnaturally. Buildings shift when people look away. Cut to a hotel room. The reporter wakes up, gasping for air. Her laptop is still open, displaying an unfinished article titled "The Illusion of Truth." Her phone buzzes. Unknown caller. She hesitates, then answers. Distorted voice, "You're asking the wrong questions." The call disconnects. Her laptop screen flickers, then displays, "They are watching. Run." Reynolds' new prison. Inside the mirror world. Reynolds gasps, stumbling onto a cold, white floor. He looks around endless corridors, stretching infinitely. He hears footsteps. A figure in a suit approaches. The man's face is blurred, shifting like static. "Man, welcome to the in-between, detective." Reynolds backs away, but every turn leads him to another corridor. "Reynolds, what is this place?" "Man, the real question is, why are you here?" Jamie's choice. Jamie stands in the industrial building, facing his own doppelganger. Both are breathing heavily. Other Jamie, grinning. You feel it, don't you? The cracks in your mind. The truth trying to break through. Jamie grips his head, flashes of memories overwhelming him, memories that aren't his. A family he doesn't recognize. A childhood he never had. Jamie, whispering, no, this isn't real. Other Jamie, exactly. So what are you going to do about it? The control room. A dark control room. Screens monitor different locations. Reynolds in the mirror world, Jamie in the industrial building, the reporter in her hotel room. A gloved hand adjusts the dials. The voice from the broadcast whispers again. Voice, they are waking up too fast. Begin recalibration. A red button is pressed. Time looped. Suddenly, everything resets. Reynolds wakes up in his hospital bed, strapped down again. The room looks the same, but something is off. Jamie stands in front of the industrial building's entrance, flashlight in hand, as if he never entered. The reporter wakes up at her desk, the same unfinished article glowing on her laptop. They all freeze, realization dawning on them. Cut to the city. The skyline no longer shifts. Everything is still. Too still. Act 48, the Watchers intervene. Back in the control room, the suited man watches as the system resets. Another figure enters, a woman with piercing silver eyes. Woman, you're losing control. Man, calmly, they were never meant to wake up. She looks at the screens, then directly at the camera. Woman, then maybe it's time we change the script. A choice repeated. Reynolds, Jamie, and the reporter each hear the same whisper. Voice, choose. Stay asleep, or step outside the script. They look around. The world around them flickers, like a glitching video. For the first time, they realize they've been here before. Escape attempt. Reynolds fights against his restraints. Jamie sprints through the industrial hallway. The reporter smashes her laptop screen. The control room blares alarms. The suited man presses more buttons. Nothing works. The woman smirks, leaning forward. Woman, let's see how far they can go. The unknown awaits. Static takes over the screen. A final image, Reynolds breaking free. Jamie confronting his doppelganger. The reporter stepping outside into a city that is no longer the one she remembers. Everything glitches. The glitch expands. The cityscape flickers. Shadows elongate unnaturally. Pedestrians walk in repetitive loops, unaware. Cut to the reporter. She steps onto the street. A man bumps into her, then the same man bumps into her again, and again. Identical faces, identical reactions. Reporter, whispering, it's breaking. She turns and runs. Reynolds unchained. Inside the mirror world, Reynolds stumbles through endless hallways. The walls ripple like liquid glass. A sound, a distorted laugh. He turns. His reflection stands behind him, grinning. Reflection, you think you can escape? You are me. And I am you. Reynolds lunges at the reflection, shattering the glass-like walls. He falls into darkness. Jamie sees too much. Jamie moves through the industrial building, his doppelganger close behind. He bursts into a large, open chamber, walls covered in screens. The screens show everything. The city. Reynolds. The reporter. The control room. One screen shows Jamie himself, but from behind. Jamie, whispering, they're watching. Always watching. Act 55, Control Room Chaos. The control room is in disarray. The suited man slams buttons. The silver-eyed woman watches calmly. Man, they weren't supposed to break through. Woman, smirking, but they have. Now what will you do? Alarms blare. The screens flicker erratically. A new voice cuts through the noise. Unknown voice, we see you. We see all of you. The third entity. A figure materializes in the mirror world, a shadow with shifting features. It towers over Reynolds, whispering, "Shadow, they lied to you. This world isn't real." But neither is theirs. Reynolds grips his head, memories colliding, breaking apart. His past is rewritten before his eyes. Reynolds, screaming, "Who am I?" A rip in reality. The reporter reaches an abandoned subway tunnel. She follows cryptic symbols carved into the walls. At the tunnel's end, nothing. Just darkness. A single phrase scratched into the floor, "Step through." She hesitates, then walks forward. And disappears. Collision course. Jamie finds a console in the industrial building, a keyboard with no labels. One button blinks red. Doppelganger. Jamie stands beside him. Doppelganger, press it. End the loop. Jamie hesitates, then slams the button. System overload. The control room goes haywire. The suited man screams as screens explode, casting sparks. Woman, whispering, "The loop is broken." The other side. Reynolds, Jamie, and the reporter awaken in an unfamiliar place, a void of shifting colors and echoes of past events. They are together. For the first time. Reporter, where are we? A figure steps forward, the shadow from the mirror world. But now, its face is visible. It is all of them. Blended into one. Shadow, smiling, "Welcome home." The air in the void is thick, humming with an unplaceable energy. The colors around them shift unnaturally, like a living oil spill. Reynolds, Jamie, and the reporter stand frozen, staring at the shadowy figure before them, an amalgamation of all their faces, shifting between expressions they don't recognize. Shadow, smiling, "Welcome home." The words echo, distorting into something unrecognizable. The void around them pulses. Jamie steps back, eyes darting to the others. "Jamie, I don't belong here." "None of us do." The shadow tilts its head, amused. "Shadow, then where do you belong? Back in the illusion? Back in the cage?" The void ripples. Suddenly, behind them, doorways appear, each leading to a different version of the city. Some are pristine, others in ruin, some frozen in time. The reporter looks at the nearest one. It shows her old apartment, but something is off. There are already people inside. A version of her, laughing, drinking coffee. Reporter, whispering, "That's me." Reynolds clenches his fists. Reynolds, none of this is real. We aren't real. Are we? The shadow's grin widens. Shadow, you were real, once. Before the reset. Before they wrote you into the story. Jamie turns sharply. Jamie, who are they? The ones controlling this. The shadow gestures, and a new doorway forms a direct view into the control room. The suited man and the silver-eyed woman are watching, their faces tense. They see the group. The suited man slams a button. The void shakes violently. The doors start to collapse. Shadow, calmly, they're trying to erase you. Again. The reporter grabs Jamie's arm, pulling him toward one of the doorways. Reporter, we have to move. Reynolds doesn't move, eyes locked onto the control room. He sees the suited man mouthing something silently, a single word. Run. Reynolds makes a decision. He turns, shoving the others toward a doorway just as the void shatters apart, light consuming everything. Silence. Then a city street. The sun is rising. It looks normal. Too normal. The three of them stand in the middle of an empty intersection. No people. No cars. Just silence. Jamie, breathing heavily, did we make it back? A traffic light flickers. The walk sign changes, but instead of walk, it now reads, "Are you sure?" The reporter grips Reynolds' arm. Reporter, whispering, "I don't think this is over." A distant sound, footsteps. Approaching. Too many to count. Then static. The screen distorts. The footsteps grow louder, echoing off the empty streets. The silence of the city begins to crack, like a fragile glass about to shatter. Jamie looks around, eyes wide with panic. "Jamie, we shouldn't have come back here. This place, it's not real." Reynolds steps forward, his gaze scanning the surroundings, trying to make sense of the disorienting normalcy. The air feels too clean, too still. "Reynolds, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. We have to keep moving." The reporter grips his arm tighter, her eyes scanning the street as the sound of footsteps continues to grow. She can't shake the feeling they're being hunted. "Reporter, we're not alone." Suddenly, a figure emerges from the shadow of a nearby building. At first, it's just a blur, but as it approaches, its features become clearer. A man, wearing the same suit as the suited man from the control room. His silver eyes gleam in the rising sunlight, locked onto them with an unnerving intensity. Man in suit, smiling coldly, "Did you really think you could escape?" Jamie backs away, fear tightening his chest. "Jamie, what are you?" Man in suit, "We're the architects. The ones who wrote you into existence. And now, we're here to write you out." The reporter steps forward, her voice steady despite the rising tension. "Reporter, you're not going to get away with this." The man in the suit tilts his head, unfazed. "Oh, I think you'll find we already have." Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet shakes. The air distorts, warping like heat rising from pavement, and the city around them starts to flicker. Buildings melt into nothing, streets bend and twist, and the sky flashes with static, like a broken television set. "Reynolds, it's starting again, isn't it?" The man in the suit doesn't answer. Instead, he raises a hand, and the world around them collapses further, fragments of the city floating away like debris in a storm. Jamie's heart races as he watches the man move toward them. "Reynolds, we need to fight back now." The reporter pulls something from her jacket, a small device that crackles with energy. It's the same device they saw the suited man use in the control room. "Reporter, I don't know how much time we have, but this might give us a chance." She presses a button, and a pulse of light shoots from the device, blasting into the air. The man in the suit flinches, momentarily stunned. For a brief moment, the city flickers again. This time, it's brighter, more stable. They're back in control. "Reynolds, that's our opening." With renewed resolve, they rush forward, but the man in the suit recovers quickly, his eyes flashing with a dangerous glint. "Man in suit, you think you can stop the reset? You're nothing more than data, just a glitch in the system. There's no escape from what's coming." Before they can react, the world shakes violently again. The sky splits open, and from the breach, dark shapes begin to pour out, like shadowy specters made of pure void. Jamie, gritting his teeth, "This isn't over. We're not giving up." The reporter activates the device again, sending another pulse toward the shadows. They hesitate, then slowly start to dissipate, like smoke vanishing into the air. But the suited man's laughter fills the space around them. "Man in suit, you can't stop it? The reset is inevitable." The static in the sky intensifies, threatening to drown out everything else. Reynolds, Jamie, and the reporter exchange a glance. There's no turning back now. The sky above them ripples like a broken mirror, fractured and splintering into pieces. The shapes from the void keep coming, swirling and shifting, their forms almost human but not quite, twisting in unnatural ways. Their cold eyes pierce through the air, and the once empty city now feels like a hunting ground. Reynolds, stepping forward, "We need to find the source. It's controlling everything." Jamie, Breathing hard. The reset? The architects? It's all connected. We've seen the signs. The reporter grips her device tightly, eyes narrowed as the static intensifies around them. Her voice is low but determined. Reporter, there has to be a central point. A place where the reset originates. We need to get there. Jamie, looking at her, confused. And how are we supposed to do that when the city's falling apart around us? The man in the suit steps forward again, his figure emerging from the flickering static. His cold eyes seem to burn through them, and his smile widens. Man in suit, you still don't understand, do you? This isn't about the city. It's about you. You're not real. None of this is real. The ground beneath their feet trembles as the shadows swirl closer, their movements growing more erratic and aggressive. The man in the suit raises his hand, and the static in the sky flares brighter. Man in suit, voice low, almost a whisper. It's already too late. The reset is inevitable. You will be rewritten. And when that happens, nothing will remain. Not even your memories. The reporter takes a step back, eyes wide with realization. She whispers to herself, almost inaudible. Reporter, memories. That's it? They've been controlling our memories all along. Reynolds, what are you talking about? Reporter, the reset, it doesn't just change the city. It changes everything, us, our pasts, our identities. It erases what came before and forces us into new roles, new lives, new stories. We're trapped in a cycle. Jamie, but we were real once. We were something before all this. We have to be able to remember that. The man in the suit tilts his head, amused by their confusion. Man in suit, you still cling to that idea. You're only as real as the story they've written for you. And the story is ending. The void intensifies, the figures from the darkness closing in. Jamie and Reynolds both glance at the reporter, whose eyes are locked on the device in her hands. She's shaking, but her expression is set, resolved. Reporter, there's one way out. We need to break the loop. We need to get to the core, the place where all of this started. The static around them grows unbearable. The shapes in the darkness begin to circle, closing in, their eyes glimmering with malice. Reynolds, gritting his teeth, where is this core? The reporter shakes her head, her voice trembling with the weight of the truth. Reporter, I don't know. But I know how to get there. Before anyone can respond, the ground splits open. A door materializes beneath their feet, leading into the abyss. Man in suit, grinning, good luck. But remember, once you step through, you're no longer part of your story. You're just part of the reset. With no other choice, they step toward the opening, the void threatening to consume them whole. As they enter the dark doorway, the city around them begins to disintegrate, vanishing into the nothingness from which it was born. The door closes behind them with a deafening slam. For a moment, there's nothing but pitch black silence. The air feels heavier here, more oppressive. They're no longer in the city, but in some space that feels wrong. The walls pulse with faint, almost imperceptible light, as if they're breathing. Reynolds, quietly, what now? The reporter looks around, her fingers still wrapped tightly around the device, her face pale with exhaustion. Reporter, this is it? The core. The place where the reset begins. Where they control everything. Jamie glances back toward the door, but it's already gone, replaced by an endless expanse of nothing. No walls, no floor, just the endless void stretching in all directions. Jamie, but what does that mean? What's really here? Where do we go from? The reporter cuts him off, her voice shaking slightly. Reporter, it's a control room. An interface for rewriting everything. We need to find it before they do. Reynolds steps forward, his eyes scanning the nothingness. Every step feels heavy, as if the space itself is pushing back against them. Reynolds, and what happens when we find it? What's our plan? Reporter, grimly, we break it. We disrupt their system. We force it to reset in a way that won't destroy us. But we have to get to the heart of it all. The air vibrates suddenly, and a ripple of static pulses from nowhere, sending a shiver down their spines. The reporter's device crackles, and she quickly checks the screen. Reporter, the system's reacting to us. They know we're here. Before anyone can react, the ground shifts, or what passes for ground here. A series of glowing lines appear, forming a complex web of interconnected paths leading deeper into the void. Reynolds, that's a map. The reporter nods, her eyes scanning the pathways. Reporter, this is it. The layout of the system. Each line leads to a different part of the core. We need to follow the central line. That's where the control room is. But before they can move, the space around them warps again, bending in on itself. Figures emerge from the shifting shadows, humanoid, but their faces are warped, distorted, flickering between different versions of themselves. They look like people, but their movements are jerky, as if they're caught in a loop they can't escape. Jamie, stepping back, what the hell is that? Reporter, they're echoes of us. Versions of us who failed, who tried to break free and couldn't. They're part of the reset, part of the system that keeps everything in place. Reynolds, clenching his fists, we're not like them. We're not going to fail. As if on cue, one of the echoes lunges toward them, its eyes empty, its movements erratic. The reporter quickly raises the device and sends a pulse of energy toward it, knocking the figure back. The echo disintegrates into static and vanishes. Jamie, panting, okay, I think we need to move now. The ground shakes again, the static building in intensity as the echoes begin to surround them. They start to close in, moving faster now, their forms glitching as they advance. Reporter, we can't stay here. We need to move toward the center of the map. It's our only chance. Without hesitation, they run, the path lit by the strange glowing lines guiding their way. But every step feels heavier, the air growing thicker with each passing moment. The echoes follow them, their distorted faces lingering in the corners of their vision, their whispers like a constant hum in the background. Reynolds, gritting his teeth, we can't outrun them forever. Reporter, we don't have to. The core is ahead. We just need to get to it before they overwhelm us. Suddenly, the space around them shifts again, faster this time. The walls begin to collapse, and the echoes blur into one massive, writhing mass, their faces a cacophony of disjointed expressions. The lines on the map flicker and pulse, threatening to vanish entirely. Jamie, we're running out of time. They reach the center of the map. In the middle of the void stands a massive structure, a towering spire made of shifting light and shadow. At its base is a door more like an entryway into the heart of the system itself. It hums with power. Reporter, urgently, this is it. We need to break through. But as they approach the door, the echoes surge forward, merging into one giant, chaotic form. The static intensifies, and the air vibrates with a sinister energy. Man ensued, voice booming from nowhere, you're too late. The door flickers, struggling against the weight of the system, but it's not enough to stop the oncoming chaos. Reynolds clenches his fists, the pressure mounting. Reynolds, we can still do this. The air crackles with tension as the echoes merge, their forms stretching and warping, becoming a single, monstrous mass. It's as if they've been summoned by the system itself to keep them from reaching the door. The reporter grips her device, the energy emanating from it growing stronger as the static intensifies. Reporter, urgently, we can't let them stop us. We need to break through the threshold now. Reynolds steps forward, drawing his breath in sharply, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. The mass of echoes shudders as it moves toward them, its disjointed faces flickering in a chaotic dance of grief, fear and rage. Jamie, panting, how do we stop them? How do we stop this? The reporter doesn't answer immediately. Instead, she presses a series of buttons on her device, her eyes narrowing as the display flickers. She's not just activating it, it's almost as if she's syncing herself with the system. As she does, the echoes pause, their movements slowing, their expressions distorting like broken glass. Reporter, I'm accessing the core's network, just a few more seconds. But the mass of echoes isn't done. It surges forward, faster now, and with a guttural, unearthly sound, they lunge at the group. Reynolds, yelling, get to the door. Without thinking, they all charge forward, the massive, writhing form of the echoes snapping at their heels. Reynolds, Jamie, and the reporter make it to the door, just as the first tendrils of shadow reach for them. The door flickers, its light unstable, like a dying star, but it holds. Reporter, we have to force it open. It's the only way. Jamie slams his fist against the door, desperation rising. Nothing happens. The echoes are getting closer now, filling the space with static and whispers that threaten to drown them. Reynolds, there has to be another way. Reporter, eyes glowing faintly, I can disrupt the system. Just keep them off me. The reporter presses another sequence of buttons, and the device hums violently. The mass of echoes jerks, its movements glitching, as if caught in a malfunction. But it's not enough to stop them. The door remains locked. Jamie, yelling, hurry. The echoes advance, their limbs shifting into jagged, unnatural shapes. Just as they're about to reach the group, the reporter raises her device one last time, channeling all the energy she can muster into a single, explosive pulse. Reporter, straining, hold on. The pulse shoots out, slamming into the mass of echoes. The void quakes. The echoes dissolve into static, their forms flickering out of existence, one by one. The air clears for a brief moment, the door now glowing brighter than ever. Reynolds, breathing heavily, is it working? Reporter, eyes wide, exhausted, I don't know how long we have. It's not stable. It's just a temporary breach. The door begins to open, but it's slow. The reporter's device flickers and sparks, showing signs of strain. Whatever she did, it's taking everything out of her. Reporter, go. We don't have time. The three of them rush through the doorway, just as the static begins to intensify again. They pass through the threshold into the heart of the core. Inside, they find themselves in a massive, cavernous space, the walls lined with endless streams of data like a giant computer network, its lines of code flowing in the air like light beams. At the center of it all is a huge, pulsating core, an orb of pure energy, surrounded by floating panels and interfaces. Jamie, in awe, this is it. This is where it all comes from. Reynolds, quietly, and this is where it ends. But before they can make their next move, a shadow falls over them. From the shadows, the suited man steps forward, his silver eyes gleaming coldly. His presence seems to suck the air from the room. Man in suit, you thought you could change the story. You thought you could rewrite it all. But you are nothing more than pawns in a game you can't win. Reynolds, fists clenched, you've been controlling us. The city. The resets. The memories. It all comes from you, doesn't it? The suited man smiles, his expression devoid of warmth. Man in suit, not just me. I am part of a system, a much larger design. But yes, the reset begins with me. And it ends with me. The core pulses again, and the room begins to shake. The data streams grow chaotic, flowing faster, flashing in bursts of blinding light. Reporter, voice trembling, we need to destroy it. Now. The suited man steps closer, his voice low and menacing. Man in suit, you think you can destroy the system? The reset is inevitable. You've already played your part. Now, you'll be erased. Again. The core flickers, its power surging. But just before the group can act, the walls around them begin to collapse, and the ground shakes violently. The system is fighting back. The core pulses violently, its light blinding, casting strange, jagged shadows across the cavernous space. The walls tremble as if the very foundation of this place is cracking. The suited man stands unmoving, his cold silver eyes locked onto the group, a smirk curling at the edges of his lips. Man in suit, you still don't understand. You can't destroy what you don't control. The reporter steps forward, clutching the now flickering device, her face a mask of exhaustion and determination. Reporter, voice shaky, we don't need to control it. We just need to break it. Reynolds looks around, his eyes scanning the rapidly deteriorating space. Data streams twist like serpents, flickering in and out of existence. The ground beneath them shifts, splitting open in jagged cracks. Reynolds, how? We can't fight this thing directly. It's too powerful. Jamie, looking at the core, but what if the core isn't just power? What if it's connected to everything, every reset, every change? If we break it, maybe we can stop the loop. The suited man chuckles darkly, his voice smooth and mocking. Man in suit, you can't stop the loop. You are the loop. You were written into the system, and no matter what you do, you will always return. Every reset, every rewrite, you are nothing more than data. You are expendable. The ground shakes again, and suddenly, a new figure appears, its form flickering like a distorted reflection. It's another version of the suited man, but this one is different. His eyes are darker, filled with an emptiness that seems to swallow the light around him. Second suited man, coldly, he's right. You will never escape. The reset is a cycle. And cycles, always repeat. Reynolds steps forward, meeting the gaze of both suited figures with resolve. Reynolds, then let's break the cycle. We're not going to be written out again. The reporter hesitates, looking between the two suited men and the core, her mind racing. Reporter, quietly, the only way to break the reset is to rewrite the core. Not just destroy it, overwrite it. If we can inject our own code, force a new command into it, we can rewrite the narrative. Jamie, eyes wide, and how do we do that? The reporter looks down at the device in her hands, her fingers trembling. She's exhausted, her energy all but drained, but she knows this is their last chance. Reporter, I can initiate an override. But I need the core's direct access. I have to sync with it, rewrite its programming before the system stops me. The suited man's face hardens, his gaze narrowing. Man in suit, you think you have a chance? Even if you could access it, even if you could rewrite the core, there's no escaping what's been written for you. You will fail. The first suited man steps forward, his hand raised as if to stop them, but the reporter doesn't flinch. Her device hums to life once again, glowing brightly as she forces it to interface with the core. Sparks fly from the device as the data streams around them grow wilder, the walls of the space warping. Reporter, we don't need to escape. We need to rewrite everything. The core flickers, as if reacting to the intrusion. The suited men exchange a glance, then look back at the reporter, eyes filled with disdain. Second suited man, you're wasting your time. We control this. You always have. Suddenly, the entire cavern shakes violently. The ceiling cracks, sending chunks of rock crashing to the ground. The data streams spiral into chaos, and the core surges with power, like a heart pumping energy into the system. Jamie, shouting over the noise, we need to finish this. Now. The reporter focuses harder, her face contorting with effort as she pushes more energy into the device. The pulse of the core intensifies, a sound like a storm building, rattling their bones. The suited men begin to move toward them, their forms flickering as though they are disintegrating with each step. Reporter, I can't hold it. You have to stop them. Reynolds doesn't hesitate. With a roar, he charges at the suited men, fists swinging, but they vanish into thin air before he can make contact. The air around them crackles with an otherworldly energy, and the walls of the chamber seem to warp and distort, as if reality itself is being pulled apart at the seams. Reynolds, where did they go? Jamie, eyes widening. It's not just them. It's the entire system. It's collapsing. The core pulses again, brighter than before, its energy now blinding, as if it's reaching out to swallow them whole. The space itself seems to liquefy, swirling into nothingness, and with it, the echoes of their former selves, the versions that failed, the ones caught in the loop, begin to reappear, their faces twisted in silent screams. Reporter, her voice cracking, it's all coming apart. If we can't overwrite the core now, it's all going to reset again. Reynolds, we don't have a choice. Push through, do whatever it takes. The reporter presses harder on the device, her fingers moving in a blur as she enters the final code. The core shrieks, its energy surging outward in a violent explosion of light. And then, the world stops. For a moment, there is nothing, just the deafening silence of pure, unbroken stillness. The swirling chaos, the shrieking core, the crushing tension all vanish. It's as if time itself has come to a halt. Reynolds blinks, trying to make sense of the strange calm that has enveloped them. Jamie, whispering, did we do it? The air is eerily still. The space around them is dark, the glowing data streams gone, replaced by shadows and the faintest flicker of distant light. The ground beneath their feet feels solid again, and the walls, which had been shaking and warping, are now still, almost serene. Reporter, breathing heavily, I think so. But it feels wrong. It's too quiet. Reynolds, still on edge, slowly looks around, his eyes darting through the empty space. It feels almost as though they're suspended in a void, a place outside of time, beyond reality. The echoes are gone. The suited men are gone. The core is silent. Reynolds, I don't trust this. We can't be sure we fixed it. We need to be ready for anything. Just as he speaks, the stillness shatters. The floor beneath them begins to rumble again, low at first, then growing louder. The walls ripple as though they are made of liquid, and the distant light flickers with an unsettling intensity. Jamie, looking up, alarmed, it's not over. It's still happening. Before anyone can react, a high-pitched sound tears through the silence, followed by the sudden appearance of new figures, hundreds of them. More echoes. More distorted versions of themselves, all converging in the same space, their faces twisted with agony and rage. But this time, they're different. Their eyes are empty, their movements unnaturally jerky, as if they are aware of something the others aren't. Reporter, fear rising in her chest, no, they're not just echoes. They're copies of us. They're us, but changed. Reynolds takes a step back, his heart pounding in his chest. The figures advance, surrounding them, their forms flickering in and out of existence. Some are smiling grotesquely, others staring vacantly ahead. Each of them seems to be locked in their own version of this nightmare, forever replaying the same failed attempts, the same mistakes. Reynolds, clenching his fists, what do they want? The reporter grips her device tighter, eyes darting from one distorted version of herself to another. Reporter, softly, almost to herself, these are the versions that couldn't break free. The ones caught in the resets, trapped in a loop of failure. Suddenly, one of the echoes steps forward, her echo. It's a version of the reporter, but older, her face hollowed out by some unknown horror. Her eyes gleam with an otherworldly hunger. Reporter's echo, smiling with twisted malice, you think you've broken the cycle? You think you've rewritten the story? It's too late. You can't escape your nature. You are the cycle. The words hit like a punch, the truth of them sinking in slowly. The echoes of themselves, the failures, they're here because the cycle always repeats. No matter what they do, they will always return to this point. The reset won't stop, and the system will always find a way to pull them back in. Jamie, gritting his teeth, then we end it. We break it all. For good. Reynolds turns toward the reporter, his eyes burning with determination. Reynolds, can we do it? Can we rewrite this once and for all? Reporter, nodding, but with doubt in her voice, I don't know. The system is designed to keep us trapped. To rewrite us, again and again. But there has to be a way to break through. Suddenly, the ground trembles violently, interrupting her. The echoes move faster now, their distorted faces filled with malicious intent. The distorted version of the reporter raises her hand, and a pulse of dark energy shoots toward them. Reporter, shouting, we need to get to the source. It's the only way. Reynolds, where's the source? The reporter's device flickers once more, and she frantically types in a new series of commands. A new map appears on the screen, lines of glowing data leading to a central point, somewhere deeper within this chaotic space. Reporter, there. The central node. If we can reach it, I can inject the final override. But we have to move now. They're closing in. The echoes start to surround them, closing in with eerie precision, their movements synchronized like some twisted chorus. The reporter grits her teeth, summoning every ounce of energy she has left. Reporter, through gritted teeth, we can't outrun them. We have to fight through. Reynolds, then let's do it. Jamie steps forward, his fists clenched. Together, the three of them charge toward the central node. The echoes follow, each one a twisted mirror of themselves, their forms warping and shifting as they move, their laughter filling the air like 1,000 voices, all mocking, all hopeless. The reporter leads the charge, her device now pulsing with a violent, erratic energy. With each step, the walls around them seem to fracture and bend, the system pushing back harder, trying to keep them from reaching their goal. The echo of the suited man materializes in front of them, blocking their path. His silver eyes gleam with cold malice, his mouth twisting into a cruel smile. Man in suit, hissing, you can't win. You can't escape your fate. The system will always rewrite you. Reynolds doesn't hesitate. He throws himself at the suited man's echo, but it vanishes just as quickly as it appears, leaving only the sound of distant, mocking laughter. Reynolds, yelling, we'll see about that. The final node is close now, just ahead, a massive structure, a towering, glowing pillar of pure data. As they approach, the echoes converge, their forms flickering like a storm about to break. Reporter, shouting, we're almost there. Just a little longer. But the echoes are relentless. And just as they reach the base of the node, the world around them cracks open one last time, the energy of the system tearing at them with violent force. The air crackles with a static hum as the final node looms ahead, its glow pulsating, like the heartbeat of a dying system. The echoes are all around them now, their twisted faces leering from every corner, their movements jerky and unnatural. Their eyes burn with a cold, empty light. Reporter, gritting her teeth, we need to overwrite the core now. If we don't, everything resets. We lose. Reynolds pushes forward, his mind focused only on the node ahead. The echoes close in, their voices rising in a chorus of distorted whispers and mocking laughter. It feels like every step takes them deeper into the heart of the system, and yet, the pressure, like 1,000 unseen hands pushing against them, grows stronger with each passing second. Jamie, breathing heavily, we're not going to make it through this, are we? Reporter, voice shaking, we have to. The echoes seem to sense their hesitation. With a sudden, unified movement, they converge, their forms twisting together into a singular mass, an unstoppable wave of pure chaos. The air around them thickens, the very atmosphere feeling like it's pressing down on their chests. Reynolds, yelling, hold the line. We push through. Just as the echoes reach them, the reporter raises her device high, her hands shaking but resolute. The air around them hums, and a wave of energy erupts from the device, creating a shield of raw power that sends the echoes recoiling. The shield flickers violently, but it holds. Reporter, it's just a barrier. It won't last long. We have to get to the node now. They charge forward again, their path barely clear as the echoes snap and claw at them from all sides. The reporter's device flashes, sparking as it channels more power into the shield. The sound of static fills the air, a chorus of distorted voices drowning out all other sound. As they near the base of the node, the energy in the air grows overwhelming, like a pressure in their ears, in their lungs, as if the system itself is pushing back with everything it has. The central node pulses with a deep, resonant thrum, a noise so primal it seems to resonate in their bones. Jamie, eyes wide, this is it? It's alive. Reynolds, focused, then we have to kill it. The reporter doesn't hesitate. She slams her device into the base of the node, her fingers dancing across the buttons in rapid succession. The device hums louder now, the sound vibrating through the air, as though it's syncing with the very heart of the system. But as soon as it connects, the system fights back. The energy around them surges, overwhelming them in a burst of raw power. The air shifts, and the node pulses again, its glow intensifying. Suddenly, the suited man's echo appears once more, this time far larger, its form towering over them like a god of the system. His silver eyes gleam with cold, calculating malice. Man in suit, voice booming, you think you can rewrite the core? You are nothing but a fleeting glitch in the system. You cannot defeat what you do not understand. Reynolds, snarling, then we'll make you understand. With a swift motion, he lunges at the suited man's echo, but it swats him away effortlessly, sending him crashing into the ground. The echoes surge forward, closing in on them, their movements faster, more desperate. The reporter's device begins to spark, flashing erratically. The pressure in the air grows unbearable, but she doesn't stop. Sweat beads on her forehead as her fingers blur across the device, desperately entering the final override command. Reporter, voice strained, this is it? I have to rewrite the core's logic, reset its parameters completely. We can't just stop it. We need to unmake it. Jamie, looking at the approaching mass of echoes, do it. Now. The energy from the device surges one final time. A wave of crackling power erupts, slamming into the base of the node. The air rips with the force of it, the echoes howling in agony as the power floods through the system. The ground shakes beneath them as the system begins to unravel, thread by thread. But just as it seems the core will collapse, the suited man's echo steps forward, his form becoming more insubstantial, more volatile. Man in suit, voice cold, almost mocking, you think you're the first to try this? Do you think you can destroy what has been built for millennia? You're nothing but ants playing with fire. The node shudders violently, its pulse slowing, then picking up speed again, faster and more erratic. The walls around them begin to crack apart, reality itself seeming to unravel. Reporter, gritting her teeth, we don't need to destroy it. We need to take control. She hits the final command. The world around them explodes in a blaze of light. The echoes scream, their forms disintegrating, their voices fading into static. The suited man's echo vanishes, leaving only the empty, fractured space. For a moment, there is silence again. The echoes are gone. The node is dim. The pressure in the air subsides. They stand in a broken, shifting void, floating, weightless. Jamie, eyes wide, did we do it? The reporter looks down at her device. It's still glowing, but the hum has faded. The screen flickers one last time, then goes blank. Reporter, I think we did. But even as she speaks, the void around them pulses again. The walls ripple. A faint noise like a soft heartbeat echoes through the emptiness. And then, in the distance, the first of many doors opens. The door creaks open, an abyss of shifting darkness on the other side. It's not the same as the others they've encountered, the ones that led to illusionary versions of the city or memories that never were. This one feels different. The very air around them seems to hum, charged with a strange, familiar energy. Jamie, nervously, is that another reset? Reynolds steps closer to the door, his hand hovering just above the threshold. He feels something pulling at him, a force that he can't quite explain, like a whisper in the back of his mind. He's never been one for superstition, but there's something unsettling about this place. It's not just the echoes, or the chaos they've already fought through. It's the feeling of this place. The feeling that this door leads somewhere that even the system cannot control. Reynolds, quietly, no. This feels like the source. The center of it all. The reporter steps forward, her eyes scanning the flickering doorway. Her device is quiet now, the screen black, but she can feel something shifting inside of her, a sensation that she knows this moment, knows what it means, even if she can't explain it. Reporter, if this is where it all started, then this is where it ends. Without another word, she steps through the door. The others follow her, the cold air wrapping around them as they pass into the new space. For a moment, it feels like nothing, like they're suspended in a vast emptiness. But slowly, the scene begins to take shape. The walls are transparent, as if they're made of glass or some form of liquid crystal. Beyond them lies an infinite expanse, an endless ocean of data, pulsing with a slow, rhythmic beat. It feels like a place outside of time, like an interstitial space between all realities. The whole world seems to hum with energy, vibrating beneath their feet. Jamie, looking around this. This isn't real. Is it? Reporter, shaking her head, no. This is the system's heart. The place where it all begins and ends. We're in the source code now. The air seems to ripple as the truth of her words sinks in. The ground beneath their feet is soft, like standing on the edge of a dream. The sky above is a swirling expanse of data, shifting between different colors, patterns constantly evolving. Reynolds, so this is it? The place we've been fighting to reach? To end it all? Reporter, this is where the resets start. Where everything, every cycle begins. And if we're right, this is where it all gets rewritten. Jamie, eyes narrowing, rewritten? Are you saying we have to change this place too? Before the reporter can answer, the ground trembles beneath them. The ocean of data beyond the walls begins to surge, rippling like a wave crashing toward them. The temperature drops sharply, and the air turns dense, almost suffocating. A figure appears in the distance, tall, cloaked in shadow, its form indistinct. But the presence is unmistakable. It's the same presence they've felt throughout their journey, the one they thought they had finally escaped. Man in suit, his voice booming, you thought you could escape the cycle? You thought you could rewrite the system? You were wrong. Reynolds's heart skips a beat as the suited man steps closer, his face cold, unreadable. Man in suit, his tone mocking, this is where the story ends. And it always ends the same way. You never break free. You're a part of it. And you always will be. The reporter steps forward, her face hardening. Reporter, we're rewriting it? You can't stop us. Man in suit, smiling darkly, you cannot rewrite what was never meant to be written. You are nothing more than fragments in the code, easily erased, easily replaced. Reynolds clenches his fists, staring down the suited man. We're not fragments. We are the story. And this time, we're finishing it. The suited man's expression shifts, growing colder, more calculating. Man in suit, you think you've won? You think you've beaten the system? No one escapes. Not even you. Suddenly, the data waves intensify, crashing against the walls of the source like a tsunami. The air crackles with energy, and the floor beneath them begins to crack apart, lines of code appearing in the space, rearranging itself at a frantic pace. Jamie, shouting over the noise, "What the hell is happening?" The reporter doesn't answer, her focus entirely on the figure of the suited man. She's seen this before, too many times before. The cycle is trying to rewrite itself again. The system will fight back, and it will fight dirty. Reporter, eyes narrowing, "We need to get to the core. This is where we override everything." Before she can move, a sudden force slams into her, sending her crashing to the ground. The suited man's figure flickers, becoming multiple versions of himself, each one smiling cruelly. Man in suit, voices overlapping. "It's too late. You're trapped. The cycle is already rewriting itself. You can't stop it. Not anymore." Reynolds moves quickly, grabbing the reporter's arm and pulling her up. "Reynolds, we're not trapped. We never were." Jamie, looking around wildly, "What now? Where's the core? Where do we go?" The reporter looks up, scanning the space. The data around them shifts and forms a massive, glowing shape, a sphere, pulsating with light. "Reporter, there. The core. It's right in the center. If we reach it, we can rewrite the code. But we'll have to fight through him to get there." The suited man steps forward, his form distorting again, multiplying into more versions of himself. They move toward the trio, closing in from all sides. Man in suit, grinning wickedly, "You'll never reach it. The system is mine. I will make sure you're erased again." Reynolds, stepping forward, resolute, "We'll see about that." The ground beneath them rumbles again, and the waves of data crash even harder against the walls. With a final look at each other, the three of them charge toward the glowing core, determination flooding their veins. But as they run, the suited men multiply, no longer one entity, but many, all closing in, their twisted forms an impenetrable wall. The echoes close in, their forms splitting and shifting, multiplying like an army of shadows. The air around them crackles with energy, and every step they take is met with a violent ripple, as though the very fabric of reality is fighting back. The suited man's voices grow louder, overlapping, each one mocking, taunting, whispering threats. But amidst the chaos, the trio presses forward, the glowing core looming closer, pulsing with a rhythmic beat. Jamie, eyes wide, heart racing, "There's too many of them." Reynolds, gritting his teeth, "We can't stop. Keep moving." The reporter doesn't hesitate. Her hand grips the device at her side, fingers trembling but determined. She slams a button on the side, and a bright wave of energy erupts from the device, creating a shield of crackling force that sends the closest echoes stumbling back. It won't hold for long, but it buys them just enough time to keep moving. Reporter, through clenched teeth, "We need to reach the core. Just a little farther." The echoes surge forward again, but this time, something changes in the air. The light around them shifts, growing darker, colder. The data waves crash against the walls, rising higher and higher. The suited man's voice echoes louder, now a single, unified tone, ringing through the space like a final judgment. Man in suit, his voice echoing through every shadow, "You cannot change what is inevitable. The system is the cycle. It is the truth of all things. You cannot escape it. You cannot rewrite it. I am the system." Suddenly, the echoes coalesce, forming into a single, massive version of the suited man, towering, ominous, a godlike figure that blocks their path. His silver eyes gleam coldly as he looks down at them, a twisted smile curling at the corners of his lips. "Man in suit, this is where it ends. This is where you are erased." Reynolds, shouting, "Not today." With a primal roar, Reynolds charges forward, his body surging with adrenaline. He slams into the suited man's massive form, but it's like running into a brick wall. The suited man doesn't move an inch. Man in suit, calmly, you cannot fight what you do not understand. The reporter pulls herself up, her device flickering erratically. She punches in a series of commands, her eyes wild, but it's clear this is not enough. The barrier she created earlier flickers weakly, barely holding back the sheer force of the system. Reporter, desperately, I need more power. Jamie steps forward, looking at the growing mass of echoes around them. He sees the flickers of possibility, the tiny fractures in the wall, the weak points in the cycle. This isn't just a battle against the suited man, it's a battle against the system itself. Jamie, focused, we need to disrupt the core signal, break its pattern. Reynolds, grabbing his arm, how the hell do we do that? Jamie's eyes scan the space, and then, as if by instinct, he reaches out, touching the air around him. The data swirls in response, like liquid metal, shifting and reforming. He focuses, concentrating on the one thing he's been avoiding, feeling the code beneath it all, the pulse of the system itself. Jamie, muttering, it's all connected. Every part of it. The core, the echoes, everything. I just need to disrupt it. He pulls his hand back and slams it into the ground. The world around them trembles. The echoes scream, their forms flickering and distorting. The suited man's form falters for a brief moment, his cold smile slipping. Man in suit, growling, no, what are you? Before he can finish, a massive pulse of energy erupts from the core, expanding outward like a shock wave. The echoes are blown back, their forms disintegrating into static. The suited man's towering form flickers and cracks, his once immovable presence weakening. Reynolds, seizing the moment, now's our chance. Go. The reporter, fueled by desperation, charges forward, her device in hand, aiming directly for the core. The space around them warps, the walls of data bending as they near the pulsating sphere. The suited man's form begins to disintegrate, but he isn't gone, he's reforming, shifting, his voice ringing through the chaos. Man in suit, roaring, you cannot rewrite what was never meant to be rewritten. You are nothing. But the reporter doesn't stop. With a final, desperate push, she thrusts the device into the core. The energy around them surges. The pulse of the core intensifies, and the very fabric of reality begins to warp. Everything goes white. The world around them explodes into a blinding white light. It's as if every ounce of reality is compressed into a single, perfect moment of intensity where time, space, and everything they know becomes irrelevant. For a moment, there is nothing. No echoes. No suited man. No city, no void, just silence. Then, slowly, the light begins to fade. The trio stands in a vast, empty expanse, their bodies weightless, as though they've stepped outside of time altogether. They look around, unsure if they've won or if they've only fallen deeper into the system's grasp. But as the light dims further, something becomes clear: everything is gone. The echoes. The suited man. The city. The cycle. It's all gone. Jamie, breathing heavily, did we do it? Reynolds looks at the others, his gaze steady but filled with uncertainty. He feels the weight of everything they've been through, the pain, the struggle, the confusion. And yet, there's a strange peace in the air now, a quiet that wasn't there before. Reporter, looking down at the device in her hand, I think we did. I think it's over. For the first time since they entered the system, the air feels normal, real. No distortion, no false images, no warping of space. Just an empty horizon, like the calm after a storm. Suddenly, a low hum begins to fill the air, like the world waking up after a long slumber. The ground beneath their feet shifts ever so slightly, but it's not like before. This isn't the same oppressive force they fought against. It's different. Jamie, looking around cautiously, what's happening? The reporter looks up at the empty sky, her heart racing with a mix of fear and relief. She feels the pull of something that she's been trying to understand for so long. Reporter, I think it's rebuilding. The system, it's rewriting itself. But this time, we're not part of the cycle. We're outside of it. This is where we end. Reynolds steps forward, eyes narrowing. We've earned our freedom, haven't we? The reporter doesn't answer immediately. She looks at the empty horizon, then at the two men beside her. Her heart swells with a sense of finality, of completion. And yet, there's something she can't quite shake, a lingering thought that maybe, just maybe, they aren't completely done. Reporter, quietly, I think we've done what we needed to do. But I'm not sure we can fully escape the system's reach. It might always try to come back. Jamie, nodding, but we won't be a part of it anymore. We won't be trapped in it. This is our new beginning. The humming sound intensifies for a moment, but this time, it feels like it's for them, like the world itself is reawakening and moving forward. It's a feeling of relief, but also a quiet uncertainty. The system may try to rewrite, to reset, but they've broken free. Reynolds, smiling softly, whatever happens next, at least we're free. We're done running. A final pulse of energy ripples through the space, and for the first time in what feels like forever, they hear something, voices. Not the cold, mocking echoes of the system, but real voices, warm and familiar. The world is changing, slowly, but surely. The three of them stand together, the weight of their journey settling in. The endless horizon stretches before them, not as a reminder of what they've lost, but as a promise of what they can build. Reporter, looking to the others, are you ready for whatever comes next? Jamie and Reynolds exchange a glance, and without a word, they step forward together. And with that, the screen fades to black. The end.